March 15th, 2021. And Preston, I may have overstated.
What?
I may have overstated about Zac Efron last episode. It's not. I personally, hear me out one more time. Zac Efron, Family Guy, anything guy. From High School Musical to Ted Bundy, Zac Efron is phenomenal no matter what he does.
Okay.
There may be better male actors out there. I thought of one in particular, Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan is incredible.
He is. But what about, like, Will Ferrell?
So, right now, as of right now, I'm not saying Will Ferrell at his prime.
Okay.
Right now is what my statement was. I think Zac Efron can do it all.
What's Will Ferrell's prime?
Step Brothers era.
Oh,
I mean,
that's like,
yeah.
Dude, you can't beat that.
Will Ferrell's getting to the point, though, he's got to start playing, like, the grandpa in the movies. Like, he can't even play the dads. Like, that's the flaw. Leonardo DiCaprio, it's kind of the same thing. He's just getting, we respect the people. It's just, they're not in their prime anymore.
So, can we confirm that Zac Efron is not the best?
I just wanted to make clear.
Because you're kind of going back on your statement.
Well, see, the more I talk about it, the more I realize Zac Efron is the guy. Zac Efron can do it all. From Family Man to a serious drama, Zac Efron can do it all. As of right now, in 2021, that's why Zac Efron is the best male actor on the planet.
Okay.
Not to go back onto that topic, just had to clear the air.
How old is Zac Efron?
Oh, that's a great question.
Michael B. Jordan. I really have no
They got to be pretty close in age, right?
Yeah. So then it comes back to, will Zac Efron always be superior if they're close in age? Just by a little bit?
So Zac Efron is 33. Michael B. Jordan's 34.
All right, so they'll always be in like that same category, I guess.
I think they're very fair. The females idolize kind of both those roles when they're played. They're good-looking gentlemen.
I mean, they are good-looking guys.
I mean, I idolize those roles. I mean, if I look like Zac Efron one day, Madeline, you're a lucky girl.
I don't think I would own a shirt if I looked like him.
Dude, no, there's no reason to.
Like, at all.
No, I'm not even going to go there. We're going to move on. Speaking of acting jobs, you guys got to hear about the acting job Preston had on me.
So I'm scrolling on TikTok the one night, and I see this TikTok where there's a filter on Instagram where you can fake, like, getting the shit beat out of you. Looks like you have 2 black eyes, scrapes all over your face. So I'm like, this is phenomenal. I need to get everyone I know with this. So how did I even start it? What did I say to you? You
texted me and said we got to push back the filming of episode 2, was how it started.
Yes. And then I said something like, yeah, I was going to Starbucks this morning, and I got jumped in the back alley.
In my eyes, I'm like, it's 9 a.m. Who is out there jumping people at 9 a.m.? Like, put that through your mind. 9 a.m.
He's thinking like, why you? Like, I'm not like a flashy individual wearing like, really nice designer clothes or anything like that. But I'm like, yeah, dude, I think they just like set their targets on me and they decided that like I was the person. He's like, damn, did they get away with anything? I'm like, no, only like $60 or something like that.
Told them to enjoy their drug money, because that's what I assumed was the reasoning as to why he got jumped.
I was like, how many guys did I say? 3 or 4?
You said 3.
3. I should have said like 6, so I didn't sound like as bad. I guess 3 is a lot.
Fought off one. It's a Tom Call. He pinned the one up. He probably hooked the other one.
Yeah. In my head, I'm thinking like, yeah, I beat the shit out of 2 of them, but the third one just got me. I was down for the count. So I sent him this picture, and he's like, oh man. So I'm like, I'm driving home from the gym. I'm like, I gotta FaceTime him just to like tell him that it's a prank. So I FaceTime him, and what'd you say?
I was worried. So he FaceTimed me. I'm pacing around the room. Madeline was in town, and I'm walking around the room, and she's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm just thinking," is what I told her. I'm like pacing back and forth. I'm like,
yeah. Don't tell anyone. I want to keep it like low key.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I don't know if I can like, I probably would have ended up telling her, but I was like, man, I'm like pacing around. I'm nervous because I'm like, man, is he all right? Like it looked like you were in an emergency room in the picture too.
Yeah. I did a good job.
Yeah. So I was punked.
Hard.
But the boy who cried wolf. Wait until he gets punked.
Like, I'm gonna get jumped and no one's gonna believe me.
No chance.
But I mean, I guess I did it to myself. It gave me a really good laugh. So.
All right. Well, we have a good episode planned for you guys. We're gonna talk a little bit about motivations, our motivations, college kids. What motivates us. Where do we go on our daily basis? All that kind of stuff. Hardest moments, all that kind of stuff. Then we're going to fly into an over-underrated.
Yep.
Another over-underrated. People enjoyed that one last time, so we're going to roll into that again.
Yep.
And then we're going to give our uneducated, completely random March Madness predictions.
Yep.
We haven't looked at the bracket.
No
we're going to
clue.
pull it up on the computer. We're each going to pick a Cinderella team and who we think's going to win.
Yeah.
Probably both going to lose in the first round. That's okay. And then obviously Bitcoin song of the week. So yeah, let's get it rolling. So Preston, I know you've been dying. I know this is one of the big topics for you. What is the hardest thing you've done in your life? Come on, give me something that's really deep. How you got through it? Give me the story.
So, the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because it's kind of something that I think is super unique. Not many people can say that they've done, and if you have done it, I respect the hell out of you. So, last October? No, was that 2 Octobers ago?
That was 2, pre-COVID.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 2 Octobers ago.
Year and a half-ish.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Cam and I ran a marathon. And when I say we ran a marathon, we didn't run the whole time. But, so, kind of the story is he texted me one day and was like, hey, the marathon's in October. We're like 3 months away from there. You want to like train and just run a marathon. It'll be something cool to say, like, we ran a marathon. You know, not everyone can say that. So I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. I'm so in. Let's accomplish it. I'm thinking like, 3 months, I got this. I'm like, he sends me this training plan from a family friend that runs marathons all the time. I get it, and it's like, all right, we're running 5 days out of the week. The first week's like 3 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles, 5 miles, 1 mile. I'm like, that right there might be more than I've ran in my whole life.
Now, I do want to add, Preston, he worked out, but he didn't work out consistently at the time.
Yeah.
We were caddying 6 days a week, which
Yes.
is about carrying golf clubs. How many miles? 10-ish?
I think it's 8 to 10.
Yeah, so
Just
8 to
depending on
10,
the player.
depending on what kind of golfer you have. So he is in 95-degree heat, planning to train for a marathon.
Yep.
Carrying golf clubs 10 miles, 2 of them, double bagging.
Yep.
2 full sets of golf clubs, and they do not make those bags light. You earn your money when you're caddying.
Yep.
And then he was planning on going home, doing all the dieting, and running the
Yes.
10-plus miles
Yes.
a day.
So I got through the first couple days, and you know I was kind of dying, but like I was doing it. I was actually accomplishing it, and I'm thinking like, all right, 3 miles out in a marathon, I'd only have 23 more to run. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be rough. So I make it through the first week. I do all the training. Second week comes around, the mileage goes up a ton. I'm like, there's like 2 days where I'm running like 6 miles. And previously, before these last 2 weeks of training, the most I've ever ran is like 1.5 miles, maybe. Like a mile. Typically when I would work out, I'd like, you know, treadmill, mile. I'm getting off, I'm like, I'm dying.
That's how I am.
Because running is so hard. So anyway, week 2 comes around, I'm like, shin splints. Like, I would go run 2 miles in, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
You're wobbling, you're not
Yeah,
running.
yeah, no. I'm like power walking. People, like, I'm running down main streets, and I'm like, this is so embarrassing. So, like, I'm just doing my best. Well, I said screw it. I'm like, there's no way I'm doing this. Totally scrapped it. So, I stopped running completely, 100%. And then October, like, I think we ran it was October 20th or 21st, 22nd, somewhere in there.
And you already had paid for it at the time.
Yeah,
as
I
well.
paid
We
for it. It was
in
like-
advance.
It was like $150, maybe something like that. Because I paid for the medal. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Well, yeah.
if I run, I'm getting
yeah,
a medal.
Yeah, I'm not running 26 miles and not getting a little medal.
Right,
Someone's
exactly.
putting that around my neck, and I'm walking out of there
Exactly.
big-chested.
Yeah,
Sure.
100%. So, where was I? Okay, so the beginning of October
Yeah.
comes around. And Cam texts me and goes, so are we running it? And he stopped training too. We both said, screw it, this is way too hard. Because he would work during the week, desk job, and then caddy on the weekends. So, like, it was impossible. Training just wasn't even in the picture. So October comes around, he's like, so are we running it? I'm like, what are you talking about, man? We haven't done anything. He's like, well, yeah, but, like, we're probably in the best shapes of our lives. Like, it's not going to get any easier from here. I'm like, but we're really not in good shape. So, like, he's like, come on, let's do it. Just think about it. I'm like, all right, you know what? Let's do it. So, I think I honestly want to say that maybe 2 weeks before, he went to the gym and ran a half marathon. And I'm like, damn.
He did. I had to bring him up a Mophie
Yeah.
so he could charge his phone because he was going to die and needed music, which obviously we can all relate to that.
So I'm pretty sure he did that. He ran 13 miles. I don't know if he ran the whole time I wasn't there or anything like that. Because he was like, hey, you want to come? I'm like, no. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, there's no way. Because I'm thinking, like, I'm going to get to the marathon. I'm going to run, like, 4 or 5 miles, and then I'm going to be, like, done. Like, there's no way. So he kind of had the confidence of, all right, he did half of it. and if you get halfway, like, finish it. So that's kind of where he was at. So I'm like, no, but about a week away from the marathon, he's like, all right, dude, we got to start drinking water. I'm like, okay. If any of you know me, I hate water. Absolutely hate it. Like,
you just can't hate water.
I do.
No, like, water's great. Like,
No. What is great about it? It has no flavoring.
it's just, it hydrates you.
Well, yeah, it does, but like.
So, like, you're dying of thirst, and you walk out of a rec center, right? And there's a drinking fountain, pre-COVID, obviously. What do you wish is coming out of that drinking fountain? Gatorade?
No. I don't know. I really don't. I probably like a vitamin water.
So a form of water, just with sugar.
Yeah. Well,
You
yeah.
just want a sweeter. Have you tried water with lemon?
Yeah.
You
Like a
that
lot of
more?
lemon.
So you like lemon juice or like lemonade? There's a difference.
It's a happy medium. Like when I go out to eat, I'll be like, 4 lemons, please.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, Madeline hates lemon in her water, so they'll bring us the lemons, and
And then you snag
yeah,
it.
I get two.
Do you
so.
like bite it?
I'm not a psychopath like some people. It's sour, man. I'm not a sour guy. I'm a spicy guy.
Oh.
All right, back on topics. Sorry for that.
What part was that?
Oh, you were talking about camera.
the water.
Yeah,
The water.
yeah.
All right, so he's like, yeah, we gotta each drink a gallon a day. I'm like, there's no way I drink a gallon, man. I drink two bottles of water a day, and that's like forced. It's like, all right, chug this. So we do that. We drink a gallon each, and also leading up to it, about a week away, we start stretching. So we would go through like 5 or 6 stretches a night. So we're feeling good. We're like, you know what?
Can I
We got
add one
this.
more thing?
What's up?
If you're listening, do not try this at home. I just wanted to add that. I
Yeah.
feel like that's fair to say. You
Absolutely.
were 19 at the time? 18?
Yeah,
Around
19,
there? 19? 19-year-old bodies can do weird things. I feel like I can't even do that.
Yeah, no. If I had to do
And
it
I'm going
right
to be
now,
22 coming up in June, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
if I had to do it right now, I don't think I'd do it. I think I just got lucky, maybe. I don't know.
So, day of the marathon. All right. What's
Whoa.
the prep?
All right. One more thing.
All right.
Day before the marathon, Brunswick boys golf team. They're playing in the state tournament in Columbus. So we're down here.
Shout at the boys.
Yep, the boys. So we're like, this is the second time in school history. We got to go support. Not even thinking that we're going to walk around 10 miles on the golf course. Wasn't even a thought to us. Nope, just went and watched. Stayed in the hotel that night. Day of the marathon comes around. I'm like, we're doing this. So we tape our legs up with whatever that special tape is that makes you Hulk or whatever. You know, the black. Like,
Yeah. I forget what that's called.
yeah, something with a K.
Kinesi? Something like that. I don't know.
Something.
Regardless.
It was a lifesaver because like I didn't get any shin splints, but that was the least of my worries during the marathon. So Cam and I decided that we aren't going to run side by side because we both kind of run at different paces, and I just don't think it would have been good for us to start out. I start out with the best pace of my life. I'm running. I run the first 8 miles.
You ran the first half because we were following on our phone. It was like in a ridiculous time.
Oh, I think I ran. I'm pretty sure I ran the first 13 miles in like 2 hours
yeah.
and 10 minutes.
I was gonna say 2:15.
Something
so that,
like that.
Yeah, he was on incredible time. We were. There's an app. There's a tracker. Did you have on like a wristband? Or
It was
something?
like, honestly, I don't know how they tracked it,
Okay.
but we had like a
Something in you. There was a
nameplate on
chip.
and
There was a
numbers,
chip. Yeah. So they probably just mile markers and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
they see
yeah.
someone and they throw their. But yeah, so we were tracking them and he was on incredible time. We were like, holy crap, we have to leave early. We were
Yeah.
like, we got to get moving because we wanted to go down and be at the fit. I mean, 26 miles. I don't
Yeah.
care who you are. That's an accomplishment.
Exactly. So, yeah, I'm hauling 8 miles. I'm like, this is honestly, it's such a when people say like runner's high, I'm like, that's not a thing. And then you experience runner's high, and you're like, my legs couldn't stop moving. They just kept going, and I'm like, this is crazy. But then about mile 9 comes around, and I'm like, I'm starting to slow down. So, I slow down to like a jog. So when you get to halfway, you can stop at 13, or you can keep going for 26. At this point, I'm like, 13 sounds nice. Like, how many people run 13 miles?
You'll get 26 next year.
Right. I'm like, I'll come back, I'll do it. You know what? I'll train. It'll be good. But at this point, I'm just kind of like tired. Like, I didn't really have an excuse to like be done, if that makes any sense.
No, for sure.
So I pass up the little exit for 13. And I'm like, all right, here we go. I get to about mile 14. And when I say that I got a double leg cramp, it was like a sniper shot me in both calves. Both of them at the same exact time. I just fall to the ground. I'm like, wow, I made it 14 miles and I'm really not going to finish. So basically the course was just through like Columbus. I don't know what areas exactly, but just throughout. So we're running through like a neighborhood. And I'm like down on the ground. People are still running past me. No one gives a shit. They're just still
Nobody
running.
cares.
No one cares.
I mean, at that point, it's like survival of the fittest. They just want to survive themselves.
Yeah. So I kind of stand up, I'm like stretching out on like a car, doing my thing. So I start running a little bit more. Sniped again. I'm like, oh, dude, this is going to be horrible. So I crawl over to a porch. I'm laying on the porch, sprawled out, just like this. And I'm like, all right, I got to find the motivation or I'm done. So I call Sam. I'm like, I call her, no answer. I call her again, no answer. I'm like, I'm running a marathon right now. Why won't you answer me? Turns out that I was calling Jaret's sister Sam. The wrong Sam at the time.
Wrong Sam.
So I get a text saying like, what do you need? I'm like, well, that's not a very nice like response. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You're probably like working at the hospital or something right now. Sorry, like I don't know if I've ever called your sister, so she was probably like, this is so strange. So anyway.
So Sam, if you're listening, thanks for answering the phone.
Yeah.
When Preston was down
right
most,
when I needed you, you did not
failed.
answer.
So
it's whatever, but okay. So I'm like, I don't know where Cam's at right now. I have no clue. He could be 5 miles ahead, 5 miles behind, or like even with me. So I call him. I'm like, all right, dude, I'm done. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, dude, I'm done. Like, I'm so done. I can't do this anymore. Like, I don't know how I'm going to get back, but I'm going to get back. He's like, no, dude, just, like, lay there. Where are you at? So I told him. He's like, oh, dude, I'm, like, 2 miles behind you. I'm like, I don't care where you're at. I'm done. Like, it's not happening. He's like, just walk a little bit or stay there until we meet up and we can just push each other through it. I'm thinking, this dude is so crazy. I'm not finishing. He's like, dude, come on, stand up, walk. I'm like, whatever, man. I stand up, I start walking, and I'm like, well, if I'm going to walk, I'm going to power walk in case I decide to finish this thing. So, I'm power walking. Like, I guess I was hauling at a good pace because it took him a little while to catch up. I want to say we met up around mile 14, maybe 15. And at this point, it's kind of classic because if you've ever seen the start of a marathon, it's like thousands and thousands and thousands of people. At this point, there's probably like, you see 20 to 25 people running around you.
Sure.
So it's like no one's there anymore. So it's kind of like at the beginning of it, there's people on the sides with signs like, you got this, you can do it. Like
dark miles.
Yeah, it's awesome.
What you get into.
At the beginning, you have so much adrenaline, you're just going. So we meet up, and he's like, we're walking together. He's like, all right, dude, let's do this. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So I'm walking, power walking. We got a good clip going. He's like, all right, you think you can jog a little bit? I'm like, you know what? I haven't cramped in a second. Yeah, let's do it. I wish you guys could have seen how I was running. Oh, it was so embarrassing.
It was like he had something in his pants. I mean, that's a fair way to like the bathroom walk.
Yes.
When Zach Sagrafis goes to B-dubs and gets the medium wings. That's
like his walk to the bathroom.
Yeah, that same walk he gives. Not to the bathroom, because you always make it out of B-dubs. But it's like the walk
from
the walk into the Walmart that's next door to B-dubs.
Yeah.
Because he's too embarrassed to go back into B-dubs.
Yeah, that's fair. Like it was weird because my left leg was cramping, but like to the point where I could still bend it. And my right leg, if I bent my right leg, I would be completely sniped to the point where I couldn't do it. So I was like swinging my right leg, like literally just swinging it, like it was just along for the ride. And then I'd be like, all right, dude, we gotta stop. So, how fast did I do the first half? 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We made it through it. We power walked a lot of it, jogged a little bit the rest of the way, but nothing insane. And I think we finished in 5 hours and 26 minutes, I believe. So, to put it in perspective, it took an extra hour for the second half. So, I mean, it was a great
For
experience.
sure.
But I will say, Cam, I still hate you. Because we did finish together. But I swear he stuck his tongue out, like, in front of me, just so he'd finish just before me.
The timing.
Yeah. Like, we looked at the time, and it's, like, 10 seconds off.
Being at the event, watching them cross the finish line was awesome. Like, the atmosphere, they have music playing. It's just, like, a positive vibe. They're announcing the names, where they're from. It's a really cool experience. But I will add, my favorite part of being at the marathon was the girl that stopped about 800 feet short of the finish line and started spraying it. I felt terrible, but I didn't at the same
Like,
time.
she was blowing chunks.
Yeah, like it might make me sound like I'm a bad person, but it's just so funny to me. Like, I have a video. Maybe we'll post it. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll see what kind of mood we're in. But
That's gonna get posted.
she is puking, like, I kid you not, like 800 feet in front of the finish line. And it's like, she got up and finished it, so like there's no hard feelings. But like, it was just like, oh, you made it all that way, and then 800 feet before the finish line is when you just couldn't hold it anymore. That's what was, I don't know. Maybe she just had people anxiety. I don't know. That was very funny, I will say. But
like,
it's a really cool atmosphere.
Yeah, you experience every emotion running it. Like, I can't even explain it to the point where, like, I had chills throughout my whole body from, like, mile 18 to 26, I'd say. Like, it was just, like, chills. Like, I'm like, Cam, feel my hand. He felt it. He's like, do you want to talk to the medic? I'm like, no, let's just keep going. Like, I don't know. I could have passed out. Who knows? But during that, I actually did, around mile 19, I felt a really sharp pain in my foot. I'm like, oh, that kind of hurts. Turns out I tore a ligament, mile 19 of it. So that kind of shows that, like, you really need to train
But
before a marathon.
you are thankful you did it. At the end of the day, looking back, you're thankful you did it.
100%.
But like, that's a tough thing to say, because that is like a huge step out of your comfort zone. Like, I mean, like we were talking last week, it's hard to step out of your comfort zone. That's like what kind of motivates us. Like, it's the idea of pushing not only each other, but other people, ourselves most especially, to step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
I would say that motivates us very. I mean, it's hard to do, and it's harder every time you try to do it. The next step you take to push yourself that much more out of the comfort zone is that much harder. Like,
Absolutely.
it does not ever get easy.
Yeah, 100%. And it's kind of cool because, like, there's so many different things that can motivate you, and, like, everyone has a different motivation in life.
Yeah.
You know, like, you and I will have different motivations.
For sure.
What do you think your biggest motivation is?
I know one thing that we both kind of agree on that we've heard is, I don't know if any of you listen to Ed Milet's podcast. We talk about this all the time. He's got an idea with life that both when Preston and I heard it, it just like sat right. Like, we were like, that's it.
Yeah.
So his idea is life, success, all that is not measured based off of, the stuff you have, the people you have around. Not that it doesn't play a role with the people you have, but it's not, you're not surrounding yourselves by all these high class, all these crazy people. His version of life is, he says he has the perspective of when he passes away, after life, he
chills every time.
he gets to heaven, and God introduces him to the self that God designed him to be. That's the person that, to the fullest potential that Ed Milet could be. That's what his vision of, heaven is.
Yeah.
And his biggest fear with life is that the person that he gets introduced to, which is himself, but the version he was supposed to be, is a complete stranger to him.
Yep.
He said he obviously doesn't think he's going to be that person, but he wants to be as close as he can.
Yep.
And, like, I agree with that 100%, and I feel like hearing that, like, when I heard that, it just, like, changed my perspective completely.
Yeah.
I heard that about a couple of years ago, and that's kind of when I started taking, like, pushing myself, stepping out of comfort zone, motivation, all that more seriously.
Yeah, I think that when I heard that, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, like, you
That's
hear
it
it,
right
and
there.
it just clicks. Like, that's when you know you believe in something, when you don't have to re-listen. Like, you hear it the first time, and you're like, that's it.
Right.
Like, that right
Right.
there sits. So shout out Ed Milet podcast.
Yeah,
Very good take.
I don't want to go too deep into, like, religion or anything like that, because I don't want to make the podcast solely about things like that. But I think if you believe in something, it gives you a bigger purpose in life.
For
Because
sure.
personally, like, if I have nothing to strive for, like, if I have no goals or aspirations, or, like, for example, the Ed Milet thing, like, when I look back, I want to be like, I made it. I did everything I could to be the person I was supposed to be.
For sure.
I lived to my full potential.
Yeah.
So, like, for me, that's God. Like, I want to be like, I want to look back, and I want him to be proud of me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so like after hearing that take, kind of some time passed, and then I actually started up my own little organization about a little over a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Madeline's family did a challenge at the first of 2020, beginning of the year. For a month, her mom challenged me, Madeline, her two daughters, well, the one daughter's boyfriend and her husband, to do one good deed a day for, just the month of January.
Sounds so small.
Yeah, so it was very small, but it was very different. Because you really, you didn't want to, intentionally feel like you were doing something. You genuinely wanted to do something. It wasn't like, oh, I got to go do a good deed. It was, and these could be anything. It was whatever that person deemed that they changed how they would have handled things and done something differently.
Yeah.
So that motivated me after after a month. We kind of had some people do it. I would say none of us were very consistent with it. But the issue was not only did we not forget, but it just didn't cross our minds completely.
Right. It turned into habit.
Exactly, yeah. So by the end of the month, everyone started rolling into it. And I will say that when someone did something big or small, it did make them feel something that kind of sparked them to want to do something more. It was like, okay, I like that. You go for the next thing. So then that inspired me to start a group called Better Self Today. It's an organization actually, with the help of Preston and Cam, they helped me create a contact list of just people that wanted to try to grow themselves. These could be any people. We have people that are, over the age of 50, and then we have people that are under the age of 15. It varies completely. It is a very diverse group.
Yep, absolutely.
But that's what makes it great.
Shout out Cam, too, for lots of help on that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, shout out both these guys.
He added a lot of people to that list.
Yeah. So it was basically just, I wanted to find a group of people that wanted to not only grow themselves, but grow with people. And this was just kind of the idea of, that reminder that we were talking about, that, that someone's holding you accountable, someone's, wants you to do, better yourself, kind of sparks you to want to be better.
Yep.
So this group, it started with just myself, and then I added Cam and Press, and I was telling them about it. They were all in. They added some people. I added people. It's a little over, I'd say probably a little over 130 people right now. Not everyone responds. It's a bi-weekly email. I just sent out a quick message. I set a goal for myself. I explained why that goal is going to make me a better person this week, get me closer to that greatest version of myself, is how I always preached what I'd preached.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I also attached usually a little clip, a little link to maybe it's a podcast, maybe it's a video, just something that kind of gets someone out of bed that Monday morning of the bye week that, is like, all right, I want to do this. I want to change this week. So, like I said, that's been very fun because, not only has it been just kind of me running my own type of thing, but it's also just been really cool the way people can motivate you. Like, one of the biggest people that motivates me on it, I've never once talked to in person. I've only talked to since the email. So that's a very interesting aspect, that someone that I've never even communicated with, verbally before this, is probably the reason I hold myself accountable to those goals.
And it's really cool because, Jaret will list some people's goals, and it's some of them are so big that it's I at this point in my life, I can't do that. And some of them are so small, and it's wow. But they all mean the same to different people.
Because every person has their own different thing that they
100%.
need to do. So I would say that's probably one of our biggest motivations, is just the idea of growing ourselves. We're at a very young stage right now. We're in college. We're doing what we can to better our future.
Mm-hmm.
But that always, there's times you get distracted of those things. So that's what's awesome about Better Self Today.
Absolutely.
At least to me, I feel like it holds me accountable. I don't, the rest of the group can speak for themselves. I know some people really love it. Some people don't respond, but different people have different ways of being motivated. Some people might love it and not respond. Some people might just hate it and they ignore it. I don't,
And it's really cool because Jaret had someone the other day say to him, hey man, I love your emails. And he said to me, he's like, I didn't even know that they look at them. I had no clue.
Sometimes you feel like you're preaching to just an empty house, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're just kind of... And like I said, there's a consistent group that I'd say responds. I've actually, since the 1 year anniversary, I've had some new people join in, so that's been fun. But like Preston said, hearing someone that has never responded, but then they're quoting things you said, or they're saying, so you never know the difference you're making, big or small, in someone's life.
Yep.
That's kind of, I would say, one of my biggest motivations, is not only do I want to take care of myself, I want to try to take care of other people, but like I said, I always preach, you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. So
100%.
And I'm still taking care of myself, and I'm not saying I'm taking care of others. I'm just doing what I can, and that's just kind of what motivates me. I like growing with people. I think growing with people is one of the best ways you can surround yourself by people that know how to get to the places you want to go.
Yeah.
That's how you grow.
Like we said last week, surround surround yourself with successful people and the people that you really want to be around, because it really does make a difference how your life
For sure.
goes. I
Yeah.
think that like setting goals is probably something that motivates me daily. Like my goal in life is to own 100 houses,
That's the goal.
and it's like 100. That's insane. But like I seriously think that one day I will own 100 houses.
Yeah, and one of the things Preston's recently been kind of getting into is his discipline that he's been rolling with. He reached out to me, about 8 weeks ago
8
now,
weeks?
right? Yeah.
7.
We
yeah.
drew up a little diet. He was wanting to get into health and fitness, wanted to start taking care of himself a little bit more.
Yeah.
You could tell a little bit
So,
about
like,
that.
One day kind of looked in the mirror and I was like, I really don't like what I see. And I knew that Jaret did a diet, lost a bunch of weight, in a good way though. Like he did it the right way, healthy, didn't just like completely cut out some things that are like
No,
need essentially.
you cut off. The hope is from a half a pound to 1.5 pounds a week. Keeps your metabolism up, keeps you feeling good, keeps you strong.
Yeah. So I think it was the beginning of December, I'd say, is really when it clicked for me that like I didn't like it. Like I didn't like how I looked.
Holiday season, everyone's got the holiday weight.
Right. It was a long time coming. So I'm like, I'm gonna start eating better, just a little bit better, and see if it makes a difference. Well, I lost probably 5 pounds by just being conscious of it. Then I got in contact with Jaret, and I'm like, hey man, can we do something here? He's like, yeah, let's do it. So he basically helped me with my macros, and it's a super macro dieting is what the label is.
Yeah, for sure. So
Explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, I do want to just toss out, I'm not a professional on this at all. I've learned everything from YouTube, once again, and Matt Saxon, who hopefully we'll have on the show.
That'd be awesome.
I think he would be a perfect fitness person. I think a lot of people like hearing that kind of stuff because a lot of people want to get into it. He introduced macro-style dieting, which I will argue to my grave is the most convenient style of dieting.
Yes.
Macro dieting, not only, it acknowledges calories, but it kind of calls that calories are fake in a way.
Yeah.
We don't look at calories. You look at the macronutrients, which are proteins, fats, and carbs, for those of you that don't know.
I couldn't tell you how many calories I'm supposed to have a day.
Exactly.
I have no clue.
And macronutrients, there's also some micronutrients that you're supposed to focus on, fiber, all that kind of stuff, but macronutrients are the big thing. So it's not controlling what calories or how many calories you're consuming, it's what kinds of those calories are you consuming.
Yes.
So Matt's big thing was you need a gram of protein per your pound of body fat.
Yep.
So if you weigh 160 pounds and you're a male, you should be consuming 160 grams of protein. That is what produces the most, muscle, what will help you at peak performance, I guess is a better way to put it. Then there's some other calculations that go into your carbs and fats and how much of those you should be eating. Dieting doesn't need to be you need to not eat cake.
Right.
That was the big thing Matt preached to me. Matt was like, oh, you want to go out, it was grad. I lost all my weight during grad parties.
Yeah.
So that should explain how hard, that is.
Right.
But how convenient the style of dieting is. You can go out and you can have a cheat meal. It's not about what you do one time, I'd say, is the ultimate thing about macro.
Absolutely,
it's about what you do consistently 7 days a week. So
Discipline.
if you have one little cheat meal, one little, you go out, you're with the family, you get together, whatever, you have a bad plate of food, it's not going to kill you.
Right.
It's about what you do consistently. If you're disciplined throughout the whole thing, macro dieting is by far the best dieting style.
Yeah. So long story short, Jaret helped me out a lot with that. Basically explained everything like he just did to you guys, and I'm like, I'm in. Let's do it. So it's been about 7 weeks now, but going back from when I stepped on the scale the first time, I was 166 pounds. Today I weighed in at 143, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, so you lose a lot of weight like that. Obviously, you got to find your equilibrium. Preston wanted to cut some off. Now the next step is going to be to maybe start eating a little bit more, get him to 145, 150. That's based off of what I've researched. Like I said, not a professional. But he's going to put on some healthier weight. He's going to consistently keep going to the gym. He's going to consistently keep eating protein. It's not that he's going to bulk. It's just summer's rolling around. He's going to be at cookouts, all that kind of stuff. It's just when he goes to a cookout and he eats maybe a burger or a couple hot dogs or whatever, he's not going to feel guilty doing it. He's going to be consistent for the rest of the time.
You still got to live life.
Yeah, no, it's life.
Yeah. It's kind of like if you're having something bad for dinner. Not bad, but like what's bad? Like nothing's
just
bad.
Pasta high in carbs.
Yeah, something.
Just lack the carbs throughout the day.
Just plan for it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it is.
If you're going out to eat, maybe don't eat as much during the day.
Yeah. So like I said, shout out Matt Saxon.
Awesome.
Huge, like I said, I don't know everything. He's the professional.
Yeah.
If you're looking for someone to kind of do what we, Preston did, Matt Saxon's your guy.
Yeah.
He changed my life. he changed Preston's and he doesn't even know it. That's
Yeah,
kind of
he
what
has
we're
no
talking
clue.
about. That whole
Yeah.
you don't know the effect you're playing on people.
It's really cool because not only is like my appearance changing, but like I feel so much better
Mentally.
waking up.
Mentally,
Mentally, I wake up and I'm like, wow, I have energy today.
Yep.
Like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And I think that helps me achieve all my goals
For
for
sure.
every day too.
Now, speaking of shout outs, quick little shout out, little camera action, hoodies, merchandise made by Steve Wilcom. Kind of hooked these up. We got the black and the gray right now. He killed these.
Yes.
We love them. We've gotten a lot of love on them, and
We have.
so we might be looking into maybe a merchandise. We got to see kind of the uproar. We don't have too. I mean, I wouldn't expect too many people are following.
No, but
at
like
the beginning,
honestly, our first post,
but a lot of people were
a
interested.
lot of DMs.
Yeah, a lot of people were
DMs,
interested.
a lot of comments.
So we will be in contact. We'll make sure that's clear. Obviously when our guests come on, we're hoping they're in a little bit of kicking it back merch.
Yep.
That would be the ideal goal.
Yep.
But yeah, so we talked a little bit about motivation. I think we have a little bit of fun now. Get off the little serious. Have a little argument, a little over underrated.
I love a good argument.
All right, rolling it. You had stuff planned. I planned stuff probably 2 minutes before.
Really prepared guy.
Didn't realize we were doing over underrated again. All good. We're set up. I got 3 topics. They may not be your favorite, but we'll figure it out.
Okay, I'll go first.
All right.
Zach's office. I'm so sorry.
Oh boy.
A Jeep. Over or underrated?
I want to add before I take the underrated side. I wanted a Jeep. Zach got one, and it made me realize I don't want a Jeep. And here's why. There's nothing wrong. His Jeep is beautiful. It's a great car. I would trade it for my 04 Camry any day of the week. Want to make that out there. I mean,
Now
how
your
could you?
car's gonna break down, and you're gonna be like,
That's all right. But with the whole Jeep thing, when you're in a passenger in the Jeep, you don't have room.
no.
Everybody, the driver has room. Maybe it's because Zach's just a big character, but I feel like I'm always, because they have the, they take off the doors and stuff. I feel like I'm always hitting my knee. I'm hitting my elbow. I'm hitting it.
I think that getting into it is the worst part. It is such an awkward
Yeah.
door to get in, and the door is like always swinging back and hitting you. It's like this is stupid. Where's the good, like where it latches open for you? I think it's so overrated. I hate it. And also, the Jeep trucks, I think, are the ugliest thing in the world.
I wouldn't say ugliest.
No, they're ugly.
Okay. Well, that's a story for another argument for another
Fair.
time. All right, rolling to my first one. I mean, this one was going to get brought up eventually, so I just had to use it because, 2
It
minutes
scares
before.
me whenever you give like an intro like that.
No. This is
Stop
just
it.
you. Just no. It's just me. You'll laugh. Shoes. For those of you that don't know, I'm big into shoes. I like collecting shoes. I like reselling shoes.
Yeah.
It's hard to always resell shoes. I will add that. I get a pair. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna resell these, and then I see them, and I'm like, no, maybe I'm not gonna resell these. Big into shoes. Obviously, I think shoes are underrated. I want your opinions though.
I think shoes are underrated also. I love shoes. I don't like the kind of shoes that Jaret likes because Jaret likes
Yet.
the expensive shoes.
Yet.
That might be fair. But I love going to Marshall's, and when they got New Balances for like $30, I'm like, yep, absolutely. Add it to the cart. I love shoes that are cheap.
Shoes make a
Outfit.
shoes make an outfit, but they also bring you a confidence. Do you remember back in 3rd grade? I'm gonna take a flashback here. 3rd grade, you put on a nice new pair of shoes.
Yes.
You're walking around the halls, people are complimenting. It was
Yes.
really a big thing in elementary school.
Mhm.
Teachers are like, oh, did you get it? Because they're brand new, they're
Yeah.
white,
Yeah, they're clean.
they're good for a week, and then they're already trash because you're a 3rd grader. But that feeling that it gives you with shoes, I feel like sticks around. Like people notice. Like one of the biggest compliments I get, there's called the shoe nod. This is a real thing. You can believe me or not, the shoe nod. So a guy will look
Such
down
a
at.
dork.
No, listen. A guy will look down at here. I'll do it to the camera too. A guy looks down at your shoes. I make shoe contact before eye contact. That's like on shirts. That's a good thing. I actually do. Like I look at people's shoes before I look at people's faces. You look at the shoes. You look up. You'll make eye contact if someone's wearing nice shoes, and you both give the nod if you like what they're wearing. It's a shoe nod. It's a real thing. Believe it or not, you can ask anyone. It's a real thing.
I would rip you a new one if I ever saw that happen.
I'm telling you, it's like you're looking them up, but like, you're with your girl, you got some fresh, shoes on, you give them a little shoe
I
nod.
will say it was a good point about the 3rd grade because like your mom would be like, all right, let's go school shopping.
Oh, yeah.
You would get
New
shoes,
pair of kicks.
but you couldn't wear them until the first day of
Oh,
school.
yeah.
You'd be like, it's open house, Mom. Can I wear
The
them?
best were when like yours ripped or something and you had to get some halfway through the year because everyone's still wearing their ones
Yep.
from the first day and you have the new ones. So
Yep.
that's when the compliments
Yep.
go in.
Or like, there's a sale going on and it's like buy one get one half off. It's like, Mom.
Yeah,
come
exactly.
on.
And they're just mad because you're gonna grow out of them in a year.
Exactly.
So that's what helps the shoe thing now too is I stay the same size. All right, sorry.
Shoes, underrated.
Underrated.
Both
I mean,
agree.
for me, obviously, but
Yeah,
yeah,
both agree.
I didn't know your opinion on it.
All right. This one, people probably will disagree. Instagram. I think it is so overrated.
Instagram's overrated. Madeline loves Instagram though. I
See?
feel like it's a different style for us though.
Right.
She's into like that's how her
Mhm.
crowd communicates.
Right. I think there's definitely like a lot of people like Instagram, a lot of people like Twitter. It's completely different for everyone. But the Instagram for me, like, if I don't go on our page on Instagram, well, Instagram's really cool if you're checking out Kicking It Back podcast page.
Yeah.
But
Quick little shout out, Kicking It Back podcast page. If you're gonna honestly, that's the only thing that's probably
that's the only reason you should
underrated
have
on
it.
Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
But other than that, before we had the page, I would check Instagram maybe once every other day or something like that. And Twitter, I'm like checking anytime I get a break.
Yeah, Instagram, I'll agree is underrated. Yeah, Twitter was going through a thing with the whole election and everything, and we are not political, and we are not going to discuss politics on this podcast.
Not getting into it.
When that time was going around, Twitter was awful.
Yeah.
Twitter
That's a
sucked.
good point.
I
That's a good
love
point.
Twitter when I want to like get into bed at
It's
10
really
o'clock
laugh.
and I want to just smile. I'm
Yep.
sending my buddy stuff. Twitter's gotten away from that, and I'm hoping it eventually gets back. It kind of has, but it's still not the same.
Yeah.
TikTok's honestly more that path than Twitter right now, but
Mhm.
Instagram I would say is underrated. Not everyone's posting a lot. I share Instagram
You're right.
stories, but I literally just posted for the first time in a year for Madeline's birthday. You know what my last post was? Her birthday before. I go, Madeline, I can't post this. It's just, I don't post. No one
Right.
posts. None
No
of
one-
my
no one
crowd
posts.
posts, so.
No one posts, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So my number 2, card games.
Wow.
I felt like this was a good one.
Wow.
I don't have a specific type.
We're not saying like drinking games.
No. I'm talking like Uno or
Dude.
poker. I guess we could call a card game. Obviously, all those.
I'm gonna say way underrated because I have a brother who's 10, and anytime he's like, "Hey, you want to play Uno?" Like, there's an excitement.
So you
inside
play
him
a
that
lot of
comes
Uno?
up.
Do you
Not a
play?
lot, not a
Okay.
lot.
See, I play a lot of Uno at the Mohospices.
See, I should play
And
more.
Karma. Karma's a great game. If you don't know Karma,
Never
Karma.
heard of it.
No, like I'll have to get the cards down. We'll have to play. It's that fun. I promise you, I'm not even making this up.
Love a good
It's
card
that. That's that fun. Card games are great. Don't even need to drink. I could be sober
Yeah.
playing some Uno, and with grown adults, and I am having a great time. I think they're.
What was that
underrated.
one game we played at your Thanksgiving every year?
Progressive Rummy. Yeah.
That's a heck of a game.
Yep. Malio treat right there.
Yep.
There's some good card games.
So
Both
agree.
underrated. Yeah.
Underrated.
Perfect.
All right, my last one. Most people like Twizzlers. I like Red Vines. Some of you might not have even heard of them.
I've only had like one red vine in my life, and I think you gave it to me, and it's like a Twizzler.
That's no.
I don't eat candy
See, I love
unless it's
candy.
M&Ms are an underrated candy.
I don't really like
M&Ms
chocolate.
underrated.
Chocolate's not my thing.
Neither's ice cream. Neither's anything fun.
Wow. Getting harsh.
Yeah.
But anyway, Red Vines. I think that they are
So you're putting red vines is the topic right now? Is red vines?
Yes.
I mean, it's hard to be overrated when they're not rated at all.
I think they are.
I think they're ranked exactly where they should be, below Twizzlers. That's what
no.
I'm saying.
See, that's my argument.
I see your argument. I'm just saying, I think you said YouTube last week, exactly where it should be. Red Vines are exactly where they should be. They're number 2. They're not number 1. They're number 2.
They should be number 1 because they're the superior licorice.
They're not that good. I
They're
mean,
amazing.
you're the only person in America.
Please go out and have a Red Vine
And then
and
don't
then-
sue us when you choke on it because it's gross.
and get back to me.
I've never even had one. I'm trashing Red Vines.
This guy.
All right, my final one. We're probably going to do it. We're going to have some professionals, wink, wink. No one actually really professionals in this topic, but sports gambling, over or underrated. I mean, we play fantasy football. We're in a dynasty league, man. That league's been
That's
around for
amazing.
years. I actually am the champion. I want to make that clear. That was a free shout out. Didn't even think about that. We gamble on the occasion. We don't gamble consistently. It's obviously illegal in Ohio.
Yeah.
But there's ways around it. It should, in my opinion, it should be legalized. Did a whole presentation on
Yeah.
it. Get the tax dollars from
Right.
it at this point. I
Right.
mean, it's happening,
Yeah.
like we just said. So why not just
It's going on.
Why not just like
Right.
restrict it and do what
Yeah.
you want with it?
Absolutely.
But sports gambling, over underrated.
Let's go. I kind of think it's overrated. I love it, but I don't do it often because I know it's a horrible habit.
It's a
to
bad
get into.
habit.
Like it's so addictive.
On the other argument, when you gamble on something, it gives you something to watch.
You're right.
COVID, when there was sports were only rolling on, and you're like, man, I don't want to watch the Lakers play the Nuggets.
Right.
Got a
agree.
couple dollars on the game.
really-
It makes it more fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna say overrated. But
Just because everyone does. Like,
yeah, it is very popular in college.
I don't
People
wanna-
don't realize that.
I don't want to be like sexist or anything, but every guy I know is sports gambling.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I see. Like I said, I see both sides of it. I'm gonna go overrated as well. We both really don't do it.
Yeah.
But
Speaking
it is fun.
Speaking of the fantasy football league, one of these podcasts we can talk about when I had to eat the pepper.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, we'll keep that in the back pocket.
That's a treat.
Hopefully, Joe, we can throw eggs at him this year. We'll
That'd
keep
be
you
awesome.
updated on all this.
Yeah.
Fantasy football season rolls around.
The loser gets a brutal punishment.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're gonna say sports gambling both overrated.
Yes.
All right, not too much debacles there today. All right, so now we have March Madness prediction.
I gotta look at the bracket.
Speaking of sport, I pulled one up. I haven't looked. Speaking of sports gambling, here, right here. I mean, I can't even barely read this. So we're going to pick our winner. You will hear this after the first weekend, so there's no cheesy stuff. We are recording this on Monday, March 15th. After the first weekend, so there will already be 2 rounds done. I heard something on a different podcast, so I'm basically a professional. I know who my Cinderella team is. Can't find them on the bracket, but as soon as I do, I mean, obviously Ohio State's going to win, right?
Yeah. All right, I got my winner. I don't know my Cinderella team, but I got my winner.
All right, who's your winner?
Liberty.
So is that not a Cinderella team?
No.
What seed are
Look
they?
at the record.
What seed are they? Where are they? 20. They're 13.
Never mind.
Man.
They're my Cinderella.
All right, I know nothing. We both know nothing. I'm gonna go Houston as my winner. The only reason I say that is I saw some weird stat on TikTok a couple weeks ago that only 8 teams have a chance because something with their, I don't know, didn't even see it. And the only name I actually caught on the list, I know Gonzaga was on there, but I'm not a hype beast. So I'm gonna go Houston because that was the only other name I saw. So.
All right. I'm gonna go with Iowa to win it all, and then
Wow.
Liberty is my Cinderella team. Just because I saw a really cool video on Twitter about Iowa. They just retired some guy's number. It's been there for 4 years. Super cool.
That is cool. My Cinderella team is this team because I saw them on a podcast. UC Santa Barbara Gachos.
Sure.
Heard they have some transfers from good schools, the guy said, so I'm going to roll with them. They will be in my Sweet 16. They're going to be, when you listen to this on Tuesday, they will still be playing basketball the following weekend. That's my prediction.
I really do. I want to go back to the whole Cinderella team thing. I think Liberty's still winning it all.
Okay, so listen, if you have a bracket out there and they allow you to do mid-round adjustments, you round by round, you're trying to do a Sweet 16 bracket, Liberty. Even if they're not playing anymore, still put them in there.
All the way. They're going to win.
You never know. With COVID, I mean, there's a good chance they still have, if a team gets COVID, they're going to have an equal chance of winning as, that team. So
I think I'm going to go put 100 on Liberty later.
I wouldn't. As you just said, sports gambling's overrated. All right, Bitcoin update of the week.
The best part of every podcast. All right, so do we remember what it was at a couple days ago when we
55.
recorded? Is that 55?
And you said it was going to be 65, and I said bullshit.
Yes, but we were also thinking that we were going to record
On next Friday, so that would be, So
So
well, you're 4 or 5 days early.
a couple days early. But I do want to throw it out there that right now it is at 56,345.
So barely up.
But
So is it going to magically jump?
no. Listen. If you look back,
I want dates. Give me what date you think it's going to be at what price. I don't care about
Listen.
history.
at 3:40 p.m.
Okay.
March 13th, it was 61,000.
So yeah, it did get up. I was
61,643. So we were pacing on the way, and I think it'll get back to 65 by Friday, like we were saying.
March,
like I was saying.
whatever date that is.
Whatever date.
This upcoming Friday.
Yes.
The Friday after March 15th. So I think that's the 19th? March 19th. 65K. So if you want a free $9,000, invest $56,000 into Bitcoin, and Preston guarantees you 65K.
Free.
Pow!
Literally free money.
That's
Bitcoin.
not. It's never free. Everything in life's earned. Don't forget that. All right, song of the week. This one's a little different. A little change of pace.
But I want a little disclaimer for anyone that sticks with us through all these. Jaret's music is all over the place. He loves a little bit of everything.
You'll hear me going from
Yes.
Frank Sinatra to straight hip hop to straight Justin Bieber. It goes
It's
everywhere.
all over the place.
And that's all right. That's what music is.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just because some people stick to one genre.
Yeah, I'm not that person. That's just not me. All right, so this one's obviously a little bit different than the last one. I talked to Preston about this song on the golf course. He didn't believe me. Played it in the car. And he goes, "Okay, that was a pretty good song. It's a good, feel good. It'll start your week off this upcoming Tuesday." Song of the week is "It's a Beautiful Day" by Michael Bublé, or as Preston calls him, Big Mike.
Big Mike.
Great song. I heard it for the first time. I was studying, and this was a couple weeks ago. I was like, it's an old song. It's not new, but I had it in my headphones. Everyone hears Michael Bublé. They think Christmas. I mean, he's got that Christmas album. Don't really like that. Whatever.
Yeah.
Hear the music playing, though, and hear that song come on. I am like, man, this is a good song. You just want to dance around. So It's a Beautiful Day, Michael Bublé, Song of the Week.
Love it.
Yeah. Is there anything else we need to add? Any advertisement?
Not off the top of my head.
Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
YouTube. So is this when the cool kids are like, smash the like button, subscribe.
Yeah. Well,
follow
listen,
us.
we're not going to tell you to subscribe. We're going to demand you to subscribe. So you're going to go back onto our profile. You're going to hit those subscribe buttons. You're going to leave a little review, little comment. Don't trash us too hard. Come on, be nice. We're trying here.
Right.
And DM us. That's the big thing. Song of the week, suggest anything. Underrated.
Yeah. Interactive.
Your thoughts on Bitcoin, topics, anything. We're going to have a lot of you on. The people that are the most interactive with the podcast are going to be the ones that come on. So we're going to maybe give away some hoodies. We'll figure stuff out. We're going to make some. We're going to.
Second episode, we're still.
Yeah, we're starting small. We're growing, like we said.
I will say,
keep saying it.
We can both agree on this. There is no music in our headphones this time.
No music. We think it might be because of the rain.
It's coming.
But you know what? Fine. Let it be.
Hopefully it rains every time.
I'm going to say. I'm going to make Tom get up there on the roof and sprinkle some water down. All right, that's the show. P-Dog, take us out.
Thanks for kicking it back with Preston and Jaret. Peace out.
Thanks, guys. Pow. Is there anything we need to add? Because we can all